In this video, we'll tell you how to rent a camper van in Iceland.
So come along and get away with the maze. In our last video, we told you all about our elopement in Iceland, how we arranged it, how much it cost us, and all the paperwork we needed to do. Following the elopement, we embarked on a 7-day road trip around the Ring Road.
Like many of you watching, we did a lot of research on YouTube and on blogs to figure out which company, which van model, and which features would work really well for us. So we're going to break that down for you right now.
There's no shortage of camper van rental companies in Iceland. Here are a few examples.
We opted to use Lava because they had great reviews, they had a great selection of vans that were going to be available while we were there, and they had a very straightforward list of amenities. But honestly, you'd have a great time with all of these companies.
They were very easy to work with, and we were able to get in touch with them pretty quickly if we had any questions while we were on the road.
There are several factors that can determine the cost of your rental. They can be things like the van's transmission, the number of people that it seats and sleeps, and its capabilities for going off-road.
It could also include how many drivers you have on your rental, the insurances you opt for, and the types of amenities that you'd like included.
You'll have the option to choose between a manual or an automatic transmission. The default is usually a manual, but for a slight surcharge you can upgrade to an automatic transmission, which is what we did.
Yeah, I can't drive stick. The number of people that the van can seat and sleep will also impact your cost. We wanted a van that would seat 2 to 3 people and allow 2 people to sleep comfortably.
But the size can scale up from that. We saw a lot of vans on the road that would easily fit a family of 4 or 5. The vehicle's driving capability will also impact the rental. We opted for a 2-wheel drive rather than a 4x4. Now it's important to note that any 2-wheel drive vehicle won't be allowed to go into the highlands or on any of the unmaintained roads designated as F roads.
Fortunately for us, we didn't have plans to do that on this trip. And because we went in May, the conditions were very favorable for 2-wheel drive vehicles. So if we went any other time of the year where the weather would be unfavorable, let's say, October through March, we were probably going to have to get a 4x4 vehicle because we could probably find ourselves in a position where we would be driving through snow and wind. You'll want to think about how many drivers you want listed on the vehicle. Because we both wanted to drive and look at the beautiful scenery, we made sure that we were both listed on the rental agreement.
This is a situation where it could be a really good idea to have your international driving permit. Here in the United States, you can pick them up from any AAA office, and they're only about $20. The different insurances you opt for will also have an impact on the cost. In all of their rentals, Lava includes super collision damage waiver, gravel protection, and theft protection.
They also have a few optional policies that you can opt into, like sand and ash protection and tire protection. One thing you're going to want to check your policy for is whether or not it includes any protection against wind damage.
Yeah, the wind in Iceland can be really serious. Oftentimes it can gust over 100 miles an hour. And if you happen to be opening your door when the wind is going that strongly, there's a good chance you could damage the door or the frame. And if that happens and you're not covered, you're on the hook for a lot of money.
Oh yeah, there's a chance that it could actually rip the door right off the hinges.
These rental companies offer different amenity kits that you can choose from, and they'll usually include things like sleeping bags, kitchen kits and gas stoves, electric coolers.
They'll also include water jugs, a diesel heater, folding table and chairs, and a Wi-Fi hotspot. The make and model of the van being offered by the rental company will impact your cost as well. We opted for the Renault Kangoo.
We chose this because it got great gas mileage, its size was good for handling on the road and parking in small parking spaces, and it was just big enough for 2 people to sleep in for a week. After a week on the road, here are a couple things that we learned that we think you should know.
Number 1, consider renting a bigger van than you think you may need. It's worth the extra money for you to have all the space you need to lie down comfortably. Plus, it is totally worth not having to move your luggage from the front to the back, to the back to the front, front to the back, anytime you want to drive or cook or lay down.
Number 2, If you plan on hitting the road as soon as you land in Iceland, check and see if the company will pick you up from the airport. That'll save you a lot of time and money from having to take a bus downtown to Reykjavik.
Number 3, look for deals and promo codes before you decide to commit. We looked around just about everywhere, on YouTube, on blogs, anywhere we possibly could, to see if there were promo codes available that would help make our trip a little more affordable, and it ended up paying off.
Number 4, check to see if the company offers a fuel discount card. Gas is really expensive in Iceland, and even saving just a couple cents per liter can really add up in the long run.
Compared to the US, where we're from, gas in Iceland tends to be way more expensive per liter because it needs to be imported to this tiny island. So gas where we're from in South Carolina tends to be way cheaper. And number 5, be sure to test your equipment before you leave town. These are great companies with great reputations, and it's going to be a lot easier for them to resolve any issues you're having before you leave the city.
You should think about checking your cooler, your heater, and your Wi-Fi hotspot, just to make sure that they're working. Have you rented a camper van in Iceland before? Comment below and tell us about your experience.
Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future videos.
We kick off this camper van honeymoon with a day trip around Iceland's Golden Circle.
Thanks for getting away with the maze.
Bye.